All right, good evening, folks from Belize City. A nice, cool, not cool, but not hot either. A little breeze is blowing. We're back with you here on YouTube and on Facebook. Of course, we are at BELIZTICS recordings. That is Belize Ticks Recording. We're on every Wednesday, 7 Belize time, 5 LA time,
6 LA time.
6 LA time, 9 New York time. We invite you to join us every week for some healthy discussion as we try to address issues, topical issues, and perspective from different areas. Tonight we have an interesting one. We're joined, let me, of course, introduce my co-star here. We have Gregory Morrison from Los Angeles. And we're joined this evening by a young man, an SJC student in his fourth year, heading on to higher education. He has informed us. Mr. James Haylock, good evening, sir. Welcome to
Good
the show.
evening. Good evening. And
All right.
welcome.
Yeah, man. What are your plans for going on? What do you think you're gonna be? What do you want to study? What do you want to become?
Well, honestly, I want to study a lot. Probably 2 years in college at HGSC, GSC, and then move on to a university and study for another 3 years. And then after that, I plan to join the Marine Corps and probably serve for a couple of years. And then probably after that, I'm gonna start my business on robotics. Because since I'm a fagit for programming, because I love to program websites and many other stuff.
Interesting. So
Yes,
you're
sir.
ahead of the AI game.
Yeah,
You're
yes, sir, yes, sir. More or
wonderful.
less.
Yeah. Interesting you said the Marine Corps. Belize doesn't have a Marine Corps. So what are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
true.
Well,
I believe my specialties after serving could be handy for the Belize community.
but you're thinking
Okay.
about the U.S. Marine Corps, correct?
Yes, 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 sir, yes,
And I
sir.
hope you don't
Okay.
wind up the Ukraine or one of them far off places. That'll put a crimp in your plans, no? But
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
so you're into technology, obviously, and you're looking at robotics. What do you how do you see robots fitting into the future? Are they going to take over? Are they going to run the world better than we are running it?
Well, sir, frankly, that is impossible. For example, human created AI. So whatever a human programs an AI or an technology to be, that's as far as it can go. So I don't believe in robots taking over the world.
That's a refreshing thought. But and so you believe it's still garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
Interesting. You but there are people who are thinking that AI is going to get so intelligent that it's going to create its own intelligence and plan things as well as humans are doing it or better. You don't agree with that?
Well, I believe as the technology rate has risen up over the years, so I believe humans are preparing for many like probably some standing stones to protect themselves from that ideology that could happen, or that illusion of robots and AI learning their own knowledge and creating their own consciousness. I believe that humans are, as well as trying to produce, they're also making sure that they have the proper equipment and the proper programming to prevent that.
You think they're really doing that? I mean, that would have
Yes,
to
sir.
be the same people, though, that's doing the
Yeah, yeah,
creation of that,
yeah,
that's also putting in place the checks and balance to make sure something like that cannot happen. Uh,
yeah.
I think the flaw in that kind of thinking and the possibility exists just because of the fact that it's going to be human that uses the AI to take advantage of other humans. And then the
That's true.
possibility exists that they could lose control in that way. It's not that the AI themselves will turn against human, but that human will use it to war against other humans. And then at some point, the AI, misunderstood the programming or whatever, and potentially exterminate all human beings. So I think the possibility exists, but like you said, James, it, it it is going to take a lot of effort on human being and a lot of failure on the part of human beings for it to actually happen. But
if-
the potential exists.
Interesting. James, we know that there's good and there's evil, and this is
Yeah,
basically what Greg is alluding to, that the evil sometimes overcomes, and we're not overcome, but at least it influences to a great degree. Um,
yeah.
do you see a balance here, and where does where is it going? I mean, is it you obviously are hopeful that we'll be able to prevent something like that going, but given the way things are going in the world today, is that a realistic um, outlook or
Expectation.
expectation, or are we maybe being a bit too optimistic?
Well, it's true. The endless ideas is endless. So it is a possibility. So we must prepare for these things, these certain possibilities. For example, I've seen a video about a Ukrainian soldier making a robotic machine to defuse landmines. I don't know what it's called. It's like a robo dog. I haven't seen the name of it fully yet, but I saw the prototype of it. It was a shape of a dog, and it could do many forms of activities, and it was created by that Ukrainian soldier.
Well, they'll have to do that after they start dropping those cluster bombs, because you know
Yeah.
a lot of them gonna be out there, and a dangerous thing. I am full objecting to that, because I think that way down the line they're going to be bombs laying around, children looking to play with toys. They're brightly colored. They look like Easter eggs. I think that one bad move altogether. How do you see this war in Ukraine going from a young man's perspective?
Hmm. In one word, I could put it as disaster. It's unheard of. Well, because of many people are dying, innocent people are dying, civilians are getting hurt, their damages of their homes, their properties, everything is just dying, and that is not only something that is terrible, but it's terrible to see it and to experience it as a young person.
James, you represent the future. You're a millennium. You're born
Yes,
after the
sir.
year 2000. How hopeful are you? How positively expectant you are that things will be all right, or do you sometimes get doubts as to where we are going as a roar, as a
Oh,
world?
well, as the world, as a central world, how I believe the future is going to be great. I must say it's kind of hard because I do have doubts because of how the war is going, for example, and the possibility of World War III because of NATO and BRAS, the two clashing groups of the top strongest countries of the in the world. Just like in World War II, where they had the Allies and Axis,
Mhm.
exactly the same thing. And it could happen. World War III could happen. It's most likely gonna
What?
happen if Putin thinks he thinks not rationally, he thinks violently. It could happen, and that right there is a big milestone that could affect everyone's future.
Yeah, interesting. I think let me introduce Joe. Joe is finally gotten on. Has been having some trouble, but he's in the
Yeah.
show. Joe, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I know.
Wonderful. We're talking to young James Haylock. James Haylock is a name I know a few people named Haylock. What's your family background?
My family background, you mean my heritage or
Yeah,
just my
yeah,
family?
yeah. Cause the name Haylock, your father, your grandfather was a police superintendent or a commissioner, I believe. He was at one time.
Yeah.
Was a Haylock. Is he related to you?
Oh, no, sir. No, sir.
Okay, that Haylock. Then there's a Haylock that runs a bus company.
He's
Godwin
not
Haylock,
related to me.
not related.
Yes,
What
sir.
part of the country do you hail from?
I was born in Belize City and I am staying at Hattieville right now.
Okay,
That
not
is,
not
yeah.
not Colby,
Hmm?
not Colby. All right.
No.
No. But what James? I mean, what Haylock? What's your father's name?
John Hillock.
All right. Morrison. Do you know any Haylocks?
I know some Halak, but not those
Not
ones.
John. Not John.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Mhm.
Um, listen, James, we really want to get your perspective as a young person on some of the things that are going on today in the world, but particularly in Belize. Now we're looking at the political situation in Belize, and we're seeing an opposition trying to get itself together, and a government. Well, if they're as the governments always are under question as to how good they're doing. What are you seeing in Belize as far as the political landscape is concerned?
Well, I believe Belize has a strong past, and I believe it has a more greater future because of the struggles we went through to what Belize is now. I believe we have the power to the not in the power, the empowerment to make change that in Belize as we speak now. I believe the only problem is issues and major errors would be probably the corruption and the political war between the government and the leaders in our country in Belize.
How do you see corruption? Do you believe it's rampant?
Yeah, it is. It is. I
Yeah,
hmm, I believe corruption is everywhere as we speak.
true.
People from the ends of time, people are not perfect, but they are willing to make changes and they are willing to do stuff that is right, and that is inside the moral and ethical thinking, if you ask me. But for the corruption in the government, why I believe there's corruption in government, well, from the past there has been many claims, there have been many proven points of corruption in the government, and people, even the community now, is talking about corruption in the government as we speak today.
Yeah, it's out there. My good friend Jose Kawi, as you know, was a former minister of government, and we had
Yeah.
a big um, exercise this morning in trying to reason out some things, and he was trying to get me to pinpoint my the evidence for my conclusion that yes, corruption is rampant and it does happen. Joe, you can't always come up with facts. Young James is telling you something there. You might suggest he need facts before he can make such an opinion. Is that correct?
Perception is a lot of it, especially when it goes to
Yeah.
corruption, and we know there is because we see many failures at the government. We hear about it every single day. We see just the failure of a definitive agreement that we know was placed where it was because of some level of corruption. If not
Joe,
if not bribery, then malpractice on the part of the minister.
certainly the cronies get their fair share of whatever is to be dispersed. Whether
But I really want James to tell us a lot about his education and what classes he's taking in school and what he sees for other young people and how he view his peers in college and probably some of the ones that sits on the base, and things like that. So we could get to that a little later on, but those are some of the things I want to hear from him.
Okay.
uh, James, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I am a student at SGSE. My class is 4A, and I am a science major. And I take electives. My elective is history, so I do study history in Johns.
And,
It's
Perfect.
and that's Belizean history as well as international history,
central
correct?
history. Yeah, yeah, yes,
Okay,
yes, yes.
okay, okay. And you're now, as far as are you a part of a student group, or are students at SJC organized in any way? Do you guys discuss pertinent issues, current affairs, etc.?
Yes, 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 we do. We have in a history class we usually split into groups, right? And we go into diverse topics such as politics, either politics, the economy, the society rate, or many different things such as crime rate, the economy which is falling. In we make hypothetical thinking from just our imagination to see how that could relate to reality and how that could even happen to the current state of Belize.
Interesting. Gregory, what are some of the things you want to hear from James before? Because I might jump off into the deep end too quickly. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. No, I,
Uh,
I, I, I want to. You were going to say something, Mr.
yeah,
Cowie?
I wanted to make an attempt to answer the issue of corruption.
Oh,
And I want to answer it from the perspective of the definition given by the United Nations, where a person who uses his office to enhance himself is in fact guilty of corruption. So in the case of my experience in politics in Belize, inside the political offices and outside, is that there is circumstantial evidence to cause us to believe strongly that corruption exists. The mismanagement of our country, whether in public sector or private sector, what they call gross negligence, it borders on dishonesty. Now, we do have charges that can be brought against politicians, particularly the threat of misfeasance, which was intended for that. What is happening in Belize is that we have all reason, good reason to believe that there is corruption, but we have never been able to test it in the courtroom to prove these people. And that is where I think we are falling short, because I don't believe there is enough evidence.
I hear you. I see you pulling punches, though. You use terms like circumstantial evidence and bordering upon wrongdoing. I mean, we have obvious corruption. The fact that we have not been able to get in the courtroom, maybe because the courtroom itself is compromised. Could that be?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Because
right, you're a lot more.
You don't think our courtroom? Well, I don't necessarily think I think in some ways our court is inadequate, because the compromise they have is that they're inadequately staffed and funded, and therefore they're not going to take the action. And then they're also all appointed by the same executive that they're accountable, that they would be taking up in court. So I think that makes it totally compromised.
And nobody the hand will feed you.
Yeah, make the whole. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, again, I like to speak from my experience where I have it. Is that I did take a minister to court, well, meaning the company that we represent, and we took him to court twice. And the two times we won the case. But unfortunately, when the case was won, the penalty was not imposed upon the minister. It was imposed on the taxpayers to have to pay the damages.
Yeah.
Now, at the time, we had a difference in the court decisions regarding the tort of misfeasance, which I think has been settled, and I was involved in that myself because I was a victim of it. So I am saying that when you hear people saying out here that government is corrupt, I understand exactly what they are saying, but I think the time has come for us. You see, when politicians believe that they can carry out wrongdoings with impunity, it is the lack of bringing a person to justice that encourages corruption. It encourages impunity, because they begin to feel that they are immune. So I think
they have every reason to feel that way, Joe. We have never seen one minister go to jail, and as you say, the minister, even when they're proven wrong, aren't made to pay anything.
And therefore, the point I want to make is that don't expect a prime minister or a minister of government to take another politician to court. The people, I'll keep repeating on this show, and I will keep saying it, in democracies where the people have the power, we are the ones who should seek to take the minister to court. The former prime minister was taken to court, but not for an offense. It was for a judicial review. And it was
which was dismissed with a technicality and not grounds of facts and etc.
No, what happened is that you can go to court for a declaration. But when they go to the court for the declaration, I felt strongly that the then prime minister, our opposition leader, should have taken the prime minister to court with a charge.
Make we not go into the particulars. James, do you see any political future ahead of you? You think maybe at some point you might decide to?
I want him to graduate high school first, man.
Well, may I say my past years of being at SGSE has been a blessing. because I've been passing with 3.8 to in first form I had a 4.0, but it fell in second form since of exams which we had COVID, and then that was the same time when school opened officially so we could do face to face. So
Right.
SGSC gave us an email that we would study before exam, 2 weeks before the exam. So the week before the school officially was supposed to start, they canceled it and said that we weren't going to have exams anymore. So everyone stopped studying, and a week went by. Everyone forgot majorly everything they studied, and then the week after that week, they said that we're going to go to school and do the exam. So we only had like 3 days before the week started. So yeah, so some of my exams I did fail, but I still went and got a 3.6 GPA for second form.
That's good. Do you play sports, James? Do you play?
Yes sir, yes sir.
Yeah, yeah. What type of sports?
Sometimes I play golf with my father, or sometimes I do basketball.
Okay, okay. One of the question I wanted to think about, do you think there's enough resources for young student like yourself with ambition and drive and wanting to gather information? And I'm not just talking about the internet because we know that's
Yeah.
there, but I'm talking library spaces and resource books and research books and things like that, textbooks and those type of things. You think enough of those are available, and what could be done if they're not? And yeah.
Well, firstly, we must say everything comes down to the mind. Everything comes down to the way you think. So if you have an ambition to study, there will be supplies, there will be opportunities, because you're going to look for it.
And find a
So
way.
yes, I do believe we do have the resources to study and actually further our educational purposes. Yes, I do believe that.
How did you handle the COVID situation? Did you stick to the online courses? Did you try to duck
Yes, sir.
away from it? You did your studies.
Yes, sir. Online.
How did you see your fellow students? Did you see all of them applying themselves equally to that, or did you see some of
No,
them
sir.
falling
No,
behind?
sir.
A
No,
lot fell
sir. Some
behind,
of
right?
them, yes, sir. Some of them fell behind. Some copied and tried to cheat their way through first form online.
Right. But do you find that children are promoted now based upon their performance, or is there a way that teachers are now pushing them up through without the adequate level of teaching and understanding that they're getting? I
Some teachers at SGSC prioritize teaching more than understanding,
see.
meaning they will teach a topic but won't go in depth when you ask a question.
Let's see.
Interesting.
So I believe there's some gap of laziness for the teachers and the teachers and the students, and to not listen and actually critical thinking of what the topic is speaking about and actually start to understand it, and even maybe go home and learn it online.
Is there a outreach to you guys, the students, for opinions or suggestions that can make the institution better, the whole school? Do they ask you from time to time for some kind of? Do they do surveys and stuff?
Yes, sir, they do. They do. Evaluations and the teachers, that's our surveys, sir.
Yeah, yeah. Do they take them seriously, you think?
Yes, because we did a survey recently before school shut for the summer. I believe three teachers got fired because of that.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
James, can I ask you a question? You are at the end now of your secondary formal education. Do you at this moment have any idea as to what career you'd like to pursue?
Entrepreneur, that's for the starters. Entrepreneur. Like I said, I wanted to create my company on robotics. And I believe I want to be a public figure in Belize. I want to be a public figure in Belize.
Okay. And a soldier, of course, before all of that.
In what sense?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Sorry. When you say a public figure, what do you mean by a public figure?
A public role model, for example, someone we're some people who wants to learn but don't find the motivation or anyone to look up to. I want to be that person. I want to be a public figure as probably as a and how could you say?
A role model. A role model.
Yeah, it is a role model, but I wanted to use a specific word to emphasize what I'm saying, to make it passionate and actually sound adequate.
I don't want to stir Greg's ire again, because by nature, I was asking you if because public figures are also politicians, you know that. Then
Yeah, it is true.
you have entertainers, you have athletes, you have people who are out there doing motivational speeches and whatnot. You could you tie that down a little bit more specific as to what area you see yourself?
Motivational speaker, I believe.
Okay, yeah. And you think there's there's an avenue for that? There's an area where you can do some good and help people.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. They are. We have the internet and we have news, and there's endless possibilities and opportunities to speak what you believe and what you want to say for beliefs.
You said that you wanted to be a Marine. You want a couple of years, which is a good experience. I don't. I like I said, unless you lock out and there's some war that you have to be engaged in now. But
Yeah.
is your long-term goal to believe for Belize, or are you going with what presents itself for you?
Mm.
You might
What
become a career
presents?
soldier. You know, you could go in the army and get promoted and whatnot, and before you know it, you're an officer making a good salary. Could you maybe be complacent then and believe let Belize handle itself? What do you think?
No, sir. I don't believe that because if you look on it, the community is what. Well, not the community. Belize is what made me this. Belize. I take the perspective that Belize is a person or a thing to be grateful of, because without Belize, where would I be?
Okay.
Without the schools in Belize.
Let me ask you a question about Belize. Do you feel safe in Belize without getting into too much of the back and forth of
The crime and the violence.
the gang and stuff? But do you feel safe moving about through the city, and do you go over in every different area that you want to, or is there some reason that compromise that type of mobility for a young person like yourself?
Well, it's not easy, but once you have the proper critical thinking and a mindset to be innocent and actually of goodwill and good morals, I believe you could be safe in Belize. As long as you respect everyone and do not disrespect anyone, I believe you're going to be safe.
Yeah, but I'm asking personally, without.
Yeah. I do feel safe.
So you feel like
I
you could
do
walk.
believe in
The reason I
my
asked the question.
respectable. Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay. The reason I asked the question is because there are a lot of people that would say, "Oh, if you live on this side of town, you can't go on that side of town." So I'm just wondering, for just a young person that's not involved in anything, do you also feel that shadow of not being able to move about freely?
I believe so. Yes.
Have you ever been a victim of crime, or do you know any of your classmates? Because I know there was a time when some thugs were roaming the Princess Margaret Drive there and preying on the students of SGSC. Did you hear of any of your roommates or your classmates that were involved in such a way?
Yeah. One person I knew, Wellington,
Okay.
the student that died. I got shot 7 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
We'll
he in
stay
your
off that
class?
because we don't want to.
Was he in your class?
No,
Greg,
sir.
if you want
I
to give
knew
me,
him as a person, sir. I knew him as a person because I was in first farm in his class.
yeah. Do you believe in God, James?
I believe in there's a higher power. Yes.
Okay. Did that was that influenced by what primary school did you attend before SJC?
Well, Pilgrim Fellowship is a primary school in Hattieville. So,
I
and it's
see.
a Christian.
Okay. So there
yeah.
was some indoctrination and some influence towards
Yeah,
belief.
and my
Yeah.
family highly believes in religion, so they're very religious people.
Well, you're at this point 16 years old, coming into the age of realization, and you're asking these questions for yourself, on your own merit. Have you looked at it? Have you questioned it and come up with a firm answer?
Yes, sir, I do. I have had many personal experiences where I believe there's a higher power, or there is proof to a higher power,
Mhm.
or it could be just be karma, or it could be just karma, or
It could be karma. I hear you. I hear you.
I
Yeah,
think I'll
yeah,
take a God over karma.
yeah. Somebody's getting a feedback. Somebody's is giving a. All right. Anyway, James. Again, though, looking at the situation in Belize economically, because you've been to the stores, you've seen the prices going sky high. What do you see happening here? What's going to happen eventually? You think? Is there going to be some kind of rising? Is it gonna level out at some point? What's your thoughts about what's coming up for us in the future?
Hmm. As a Belize community, I believe the economy could rise. It could rise.
Mhm.
Why, you may ask? Well, I believe past has made very changes in the future. As people may say, history repeats itself. So basically, I believe our history, as a hardworking country, we fought for our independence, we fought for our right to live, we fought for our right to have a job, we fought for our right to have a wonderful life as a Belizean. So I believe we could fight again as a community, even not even a political war. I believe we could fight as a community, as a country, as a people, as we are one. I believe we could unify and fight for a greater Belize.
Speaking of fighting, did you guys was the Guatemala issue ever a part of the education throughout your schooling so far, primary and tertiary? I mean,
It was
secondary.
in primary school. It was in primary school. This year where I did my 3 years now to fourth in SGSC, we haven't talked about the Guatemalan issue with Belize.
Do you think you should?
Yeah, I believe we should.
Yeah, yeah. Are you familiar with the ICJ situation? Do you think we should have gone to the ICJ or not go to the ICJ?
I believe we shouldn't have gone to the ICJ.
We should not.
Yeah, we should not.
Okay, why?
Well, I believe it puts us in a very tough situation in formulating what Belize could be if they're inside of this organization, to further expand many different ideals of which we wouldn't call a Belizean way, or the Belizean dream.
Go ahead. I'll try get you. Why? I can't tie that in with the ICJ yet.
Okay.
Why going to the ICJ? You think would affect us like that? I mean, we stand to lose the country. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, we lose our dignity, I believe. That's a far question right there. We lose our dignity as a country.
And if we win,
It makes us stronger and more willing to fight against anything which opposes our country. For example, corruption. I believe if we won, and if we did, it could further expand many different ways how Belizeans think about Belize.
well, could it be a risk worth taking then?
Well, let's talk about the cons and the pros. I believe if we won, Belize would be stronger. Belize would be more, how would you say, willful to fight. The con, if we lost, the economy would feel somewhat of it, feel somewhat of the mistake of we failing or winning. I believe the economy would suffer because of that. But I do believe the Belizean people would feel more alive. and that would create more dreams to fight for the country and fight for the economy to rise again. So I believe it's a risk well taken.
Well,
James, can I
I'll
ask
say,
you?
oh, go ahead.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
I
yes,
think
sir.
you did history, right? You did history in school. You are doing history as a subject.
Yes, sir.
All right. Have you done anything on the history of the Guatemalan claim to Belize?
The Guatemalan trade to Belize. No, sir. We
The
haven't.
claim to Belize.
Claim.
Oh, the claim.
Mhm.
No, sir.
Hold
All right.
on a
So
second.
You said you did that
believe
in high school. You
Belize
said you
belong? Who do you
studied.
believe?
No, no, no,
Who
no.
do you believe Belize belong to? The
Belize
country Belize
belong to the
territory.
Belizean people because the Mayans were first on the Belize, I believe. The Mayans, then the Guatemalans. No, my bad, my bad. I mean the Garifuna after the Mayans, and that is where our Belize dream started to grow. Our Belizean home, which we know it as it is now. I believe that this is our home because
So,
not
so
only
if you
we did
believe
fight
that,
for our independence as a country, but I believe we fought not only for independence but the right to live, which I stated before.
so if you believe that Belize belong to us,
Yes, sir.
don't you think we can go to the court and prove that they belong to us? If you say this piece of land is yours and you got your title, but the neighbor
Okay.
is making a claim, and then decide they want to go to the court. Do you go to the court because you have your title to prove to the court that you own this land? So why is it that we want to go to the court to prove to the court that we own this country?
Well, because some of it are allegations and some of it is not true, and we may do not have how you could say writings of our names, meaning that Belize is ours. Belize is ours. But I believe we fight with experience, with history, to say that this is our land. If you look in the history, do you believe Guatemala ever helped Belize financially or economy in an economy rate to make it better than
Well,
it is?
they said George Price used to go pick up money. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let's try to figure this thing out. Gregory, mute your mic 1 second for me. All right, it's muted. No, it's not. It's not.
I'm muted, and I muted before, and I realized it wasn't from my end. So,
Joe. No, I think that you, James. Where's that mic at that you have in?
You have a bass. He sounds like a bass.
Yeah.
Like
mute. You have a mute. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, James. There's something there. That mic is giving you a little trouble. Is the mic in the? Is that mic in the unmuted, James? And is the mic you're using in the laptop itself?
No, sir.
All right. So where is it sitting? See, there's a buzz in there, a bass light coming in. Can you adjust it to a spot where it could be permanent?
Let me try.
Yeah, it's moving around and it's bumping on things and whatnot, I think.
Whenever you touch the table, you could hear it. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So you got to keep off because it's sensitive.
Keep it off
you
the
got a
table.
sensitive mic.
Yeah,
keep it off the table.
Sorry, folks.
Just put it.
It'll be a minute. We'll be back. Interesting conversation with young James Haylock, high school student. We figured we'd get a young person's perspective on some of these issues. Unmuted from there, James. See how he's doing now.
I wanted to ask James about if what he knows about the Battle of St. George's Key.
All right. Okay. He said he taught him about that in primary
I just
school.
want to know. Yeah, I want to know what he knows about it.
All right, James, you're back. How is that? Now you're unmuted again.
Can you hear me good now?
Yes. That is much better. Much better. Thank you. Gregory has a question for you as a student of history. Greg?
I just
can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
I can hear you perfectly. I wanted to know what is your understanding of the Battle of St. George's Key, and what do you think about it? Was it a battle? Was that one of the reasons why Belizeans are entitled to Belize? Did we defeat the Spaniards and drove them off forever? And is Guatemalan claim unfounded because the Spanish never did took occupation of Belize? That kind of stuff. What's your
Okay.
thought?
I do believe the Battle of St. George's Key is a revolution. I could say that is probably a standing stone to why Belize is ours, because we fought for it and we died for it. And yes, I do believe we drove the Spaniards away. We fought to the end and we won our independence, and we won that day of St. George's Key. And Guatemala hasn't, or the Spaniards hasn't given no occupation to Belize. So I believe we somewhat deserve it, but I believe we got it in our independence. We had, because if we looked at our country in the past where we were a colony of British, would you say we would still have our independence if we never fought for it on the Battle of St. George's Key?
Well, we had our independence with an asterisk, so to speak. There's a stipulation in there that we had to settle this claim along the way. So that is important to know.
But young James says we won Belize when we won the Battle of St. George's Key.
Yeah, and James has a right to say that. But James, I think after you think about this some more and do a little more looking into it, you'll realize that when we got independence, it was specified by the United Nations that we must do work towards settling the claim. A part of that is going to the ICJ, which is why I believe we had to go to the ICJ. Of course, we had to have a referendum, which was called for, and we did. So I think as you go along, you might want to look at that and reevaluate your stand and not being the right thing going to the ICJ. And more importantly, that we already made the decision, so we're there. And hopefully we won't have to fight again for it. But would you be prepared to fight in the event that we had to fight now, indeed, against an invasion force? Would you?
You're speaking as a minor or as an adult? If I'm an adult.
Well, you're going to be an adult soon. You're not far from
Yes, sir.
that. And hopefully,
Yeah.
hopefully, when you get that experience, a couple of years in the Marines, you will be even more capable.
You'll
of
be
being
well
a-
And
equipped.
exactly why I would want to be a public figure, because not only I will display my skills and my wisdom to the community and to Belize, I would actually teach them, and that would draw them in to try to live the Belizean dream, to fight for the Belizean will. So I believe, yeah, I would fight.
You sound like a young Joe Coy. But no, really, James, because Belize, we're in a position where we need our young people.
Yeah.
We need.
Yes, sir.
I think what should have been happening for a long time is that our political leaders should have been recognizing where our needs lie and giving scholarships to people inclined in those directions, as opposed to just giving out to cronies and to all their children, all the kids, all the politicians are well educated and whatnot. But a young boy from the South Side or from Hattieville, who might have all the potential in the world, has not been considered. Do you think it's time for that to change? Do you see it changing at any time in the future?
I call it stereotypes. I call it stereotypes when someone believes or thinks of a person as that. I believe it could change, but for right now, I believe it's not changing. It's just getting worse.
You see, political patronage, you think exists?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah. It's a part of we election process that every 5 years we have an election. Have you given any thought to that? Because there's a thinking that it should be 4. How do you see politics in Belize?
How do I see it?
Yeah.
I see it as fascinating. I see it as amusing.
Interesting. Is your family of one political persuasion or the other? You don't have to tell us which one. But you have strong politics in your family, or are they just voters?
Strong politics.
Strong politics. Okay. Interesting. I see you got a globe behind you, so that's a good sign. You're more universally thinking. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. Guys, Greg, any more questions for young Joe, young James?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I feel optimistic about the future of Belize when I listen to James, because he tells me a lot about that young people are thinking. They are
Yeah.
concerned about the future of the country, and that they are committed in their way to seeing a prosperous and better Belize. They're concerned about the issues of corruption. They're concerned about the issues of opportunities. And so forth. So that makes me feel good. So the question I generally will have for him is, at the moment, as a young person, what do you do to encourage other young people to sort of do the right thing, as you seem to be doing right now? And is it just, do you just participate with your peers that are within your clique, or do you sort of go outside of where your comfort is in terms of your colleagues, to try and, you know, see how you could help other young people?
Yes, sir. I go out of my way. I am a person who's optimistic, as you said. I love to research on my own. I am a dedicated researcher. I love to find and learn new things. That's why I'm always open to learn more, especially when it comes to wisdom and understanding. And that is how my knowledge grew over time, over the years. But how I would portray to make someone feel like they should improve themselves in those aspects, it all comes down to the mind, like I said before. But I believe there is a way to inspire other people. If you were, which movie would you watch hypothetically? Would you watch a movie which came out the first day and it became big, or a movie which came out last but had a low budget, everything was low quality, but the story was good? Which one would you decide to use or watch?
I'd want a good movie.
And how would I know which is good before I watch them both?
Would you
Well,
hypothetically, you see a low business, a business which is low, or are you and you see a high business? Which
mhm.
one would you want to help more, the high business or the low business?
The low business, that's what I'm saying. The
These are
one,
interesting questions, though.
the ones that struggles. If
Yes, is
I
the
have the
one that
expertise for
will
them.
continue.
No, I said if I have the expertise to help them, that's the one I would think need my help, and that's where I think the greater benefit would be.
Not only that, but in the human race, from all the times way to the Greek mythology, the one that struggles is the one who will prosper. The one that falls down 1,000 times, the one that fails 1,000 times, the failure becomes a winner after all. In the end, he will become a winner. And that's to show that if you're losing, you're feeling down, you're feeling like you don't have the potential to be, you don't have the resources to be. I believe if you want that, you will look for it. It's not impossible to find it. Because let's say you are a person who was born in a gang neighborhood as farmers, for example, and you don't have the money or accessories to actually finance yourself in school. So all you have around you is just people trying to influence you to be in going and joining a gang, the potential to be a gangster, and all these distractions which would corrupt your mind overall, or in the end. If I was that person and I was optimistic as I am now, I believe I would find a way. Even let's say if my mother was what didn't had a job, no one in my family had a job. I had to find a job. So I believe if I wanted to succeed in life, I will go look out for jobs other than to be a gangster. And let's say I did join that part of being a gangster. I became well known. I was the strongest. I killed a lot of people. I was feared and all of this, and I had the money. Let's say age 25 to age 30, I believe you will die.
Mhm.
And
Um,
That is almost a certainty.
yeah.
And so,
Te-
that
te-
that is a fact. That is not just an illusion or how you play. what
It's a
goes
bug.
around comes around. Like I said, karma, karma will. Yeah.
Tell me, Sonny, they have a program now where they
Yes, sir.
take in the gang boys and put them to work. They're putting them out, cleaning drains, chopping yards, etc., etc. Do you think that's a worthwhile program, and do you see any
Yes.
that might help in the end
Yes.
alleviate
Yes,
the
sir.
problems?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Because it disciplines you to become a man. It disciplines you not to think much immaturely and to not act and just seeing something, but to actually think before you do something. That's the saying where you say think before you speak, because the fool that speaks doesn't know what he's talking about, but the person who is actually a genius thinks before he speaks. And that spoken words which he has spoken has deeper meaning far beyond you could even imagine, because he could go in many different ways why that one word is so important.
Okay. Interesting. I'm encouraged because I hear you. Obviously, you're reading, you're thinking, and you have no problem speaking. So you're
Yes, sir.
on a road to you need to keep on educating yourself, keep on listening to people who know more or been around more. And Joe would like to hear this part of it because he tells me that I don't listen to him enough, given the experience, given the experience he has now. So, but I encourage you to listen more, James. What we're gonna do is it's just about the mid part of our show. Where guys, if you have more things to ask James, we can keep him on. If you want us to bring him back at another time and do this some other time, then we can do that. What's
I, I just want to get a little bit more feel for James. Do you
Okay.
watch TV and play video games and those type of things? And what type of TV and what type of games if you do that sort of stuff?
TikTok?
No, sir. No, sir. I do not watch TikTok.
You don't even have a Facebook page, do you?
No, I don't.
Why not?
The only social media I have is Instagram and WhatsApp. That's all. And Discord. That's all I use. Because I don't believe in giving my information or my rights to have that app to a communist country such as TikTok, because TikTok is created by China and China is a communist place.
But my friend,
And I don't.
Is there what's the problem with giving it to a communist country versus
Yeah,
a
don't-
capitalist country?
don't you drink tea, my friend?
Yes, but you have to remember TikTok. There's been many allegations that TikTok's the China which created the app TikTok sold people's information, their database and their accounts and all of those things. So that's why although allegations made me decide to not download the app. So it was a formal decision on my own to speak.
Okay.
What
But
do
you
you
don't.
think?
So you don't think the other platforms give out your information or sell your information?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Oh,
sir.
you do.
I do believe that. But
But they're
it's
not
just a
communist.
personal. It's just a personal beef. I would say I don't like communism. That's for sure. I
Okay.
do not like
Sometimes
communism.
we have to be careful not to just. We need to learn about words and not just
Yes,
be
sir.
fearful of communism or capitalism, because they
Sir.
can both be dangerous. You know.
Yes, sir. I
They-
do
they-
believe that. You see,
So
speak. Continue.
no,
please.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Uh,
You have a thought.
Right now, right now. Let me finish my sentence. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Come on.
The reason why I would say communism is so bad is not just because of the history of it. It's because I've done my research on communism. I studied it a lot because I really enjoy watching documentaries on World War II. I am a very person in history. I love history as a whole. It could be World War II, World War One. It could be Greek mythology. It could be humans. It could be anything. I love history and I find it amusing and fascinating. So the reason why I don't like communism is in that aspect of studying World War II and World War One and how communism affected the world and how it affected the community and how it affected the country itself and how it is today.
Well, maybe you need to look a little bit deeper on it, because communism is one system, capitalism
Yeah.
is another, and
Capitalism is as far bad as communism, if you ask me. and you said I should do a deeper understanding of what communism is. I So the way I learn farther more than which I don't see on the internet, I read books about it. I read things on archive websites which a normal human being like a teenager as myself could not access, and just going on Google. I go far in parts of the internet. I go in many different sections of the internet to find information. So yeah, I've interviewed many people who strongly believe in extremists of communism. So yeah, I see the mindset which they play out and how it did had its pros and it did had its more cons. I did do all those research on communism. So yeah, that's why I made the conclusion that I don't like communism.
Well,
None of that.
let me say, I hear Greg telling you might need to study it a bit more. And let's get it clear that it's not that you study to become one, but you study to more understand what is going on.
Yes,
Remember now, all the ideas you getting from about both communism and capitalism might be coming from a capitalist thing. You're certainly not going to look at anything that comes from Russia or China, are you?
Yeah.
You wouldn't even consider that.
But
So,
this is the reason why I go on these distinctive websites, because of the media. The media is lying. The media is always lying to you. It's an illusion.
Sometimes you need to read books, right?
Yes, sir. That's why. Yes, sir. Sorry. Yes, sir. I do read books on the subjects and many different things. That's because I get the books online. I use websites to read the book for free since I can't buy it in real life. So I read it online as a PDF. Yeah. Yes, sir.
James, you're 16 years old. You're speaking to about 300 years of experience amongst everybody here. So,
Yeah, and Mike has 200 of
Sir.
it.
I understand. No, I was thinking about Joe. You're wrong. But no. James, really, there's a lot as you go along. Don't ever get to the point where you think you've got it, because you
Yeah.
find out that there's more. There's always
Yeah.
more. I think this is the infinity of the world that we're talking about. When you grasp something and you think you got it, and you realize why that's an illusion. There's so much out there. Don't ever stop searching, and don't ever start thinking that you know it all. You've got the full understanding of it. Keep trying to get
Pushing,
more. And
pushing.
that would be my advice for you. I really go ahead.
Can you finish? Can you finish?
Basically that's it. Go ahead. If you got something to say, go ahead.
Can I ask you
I-
something, James? Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yes, Mr. Drew.
What I wanted to ask you is that I sensed in my conversation I had with you
Yes, sir.
that you seems to have a strong aptitude or affinity for the sciences. How do you see the world of tomorrow in the context of artificial intelligence?
I get to artificial intelligence again. I see.
Yeah, Joe missed that part. Remember, he came in late.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
for his benefit,
Yes.
tell him again how you think that artificial intelligence is going to destroy the world. Tell him now.
No.
All right. I lied.
I never said
Okay, you did. All right. Okay, you did. What did you say? Tell Joe for his benefit.
Okay. I told them exactly which I told you. Remember what you said? Also, intelligence out of AI could not go as far. It can't be extended unless you extend it yourself. Because the humans who created AI is the one who controls AI. Because if you program on the website, let's say you have the website to hold the capacity of 100 people on the website, you could program that and expand it to maybe 1,000. That is the same way, the same ideals you go towards AI. You can expand it, but you have to always have precautions. That's why I told you many other scientists on the robots, which for the ones I told you with the Ukrainian soldier, they did many they did many studies on the behavior of the robot and how it responds to violence and critical thinking, such as something close to the idea of consciousness. So that's what the scientists nowadays are doing to formulate different ideas to prevent that AI invasion or the world destruction by AI. Yeah.
You know, AI doesn't have to just be humanoid sort of image, you know.
Yeah,
We,
yeah, it
I,
is.
I, I was reading something where they were saying that probably in the next 10 years, fighter pilots will not be fighting plane. It'll be drone pilots, drones that will be going up and fighting and defending the sky. They have much more capability. They don't have to worry about oxygen and different type of maneuver where they block out and things like that. And so trying to evade an enemy radar is not going to be human beings in those cockpits of those fighter planes. It's going to be drone driven and maneuvered from the ground, or some artificial intelligence on board that's making those decisions as to how to get through from point A to point B. If we just think of it in terms of human, then we're limited that we could control it. If we think of it as just that capacity for control, that drone could be redirected to fight back because the program got corrupted to
But you
fight and
said
killed all human beings.
you said the key word redirected. In other words,
Yes.
it's directed to start with. Now, what I'd like to see the days when there are robots in the trenches, in the foxhole, as opposed to human beings, where when that cluster bomb drops, the robot then is destroyed and not people, somebody's son or somebody's father. No. So do you James? We see the call centers taking a strong hold in Belize, and in fact they're fast becoming the biggest employers here. But we know that AI is envisioned at some point to maybe take over the role of those people. How do you see that? Do you see that maybe happening? Because certainly AI will have more information at its disposal, be more accurate in giving instructions as to how to do things, and then we having been addicted to it as such, linked on it so closely, without any other outlet. What do you see happening there in the future with that?
If AI was in that manner, how I would prevent it, or how
No.
we as human beings
Well,
would
AI
prevent
is
it.
in that manner. AI is
Yeah,
in
yeah.
that manner because AI
It has the capability to
the
be.
capability, right? And you know how greedy these entrepreneurs and I beg your pardon, since
Hey,
since they
hey,
want to
that's
be.
what he wants
This
to
is what
be.
I'm
Come
saying.
on.
You know that they want to be as successful as they can, paying out the least that they can and bringing in as much as they can. If AI gives them that potential, they will go that way. We know that, and there's no question. Where would that leave us then? Go ahead.
As you said, AI could influence human beings, entrepreneurs. Let me tell you something. Elon Musk, he's working on a Neuralink to put inside a chip inside her brain. So it's basically like an AI technology inside your brain. So let's say that overloads and it takes over your brain. That's basically saying that AI has taken over your brain. And you just opened my eyes to that, to see that the possibility could happen that AI or that technology could infiltrate a person's mind. I don't believe it could take over the mind of a human. I believe it could either damage it or increase it. You know those sci-fi movies, how you see in the sci-fi movies, like for example, those movies where humans are made out of robots, and how you see their person and the POV of how they see the world, like probably Iron Man. Have you seen Iron Man?
Yeah.
That's actually
Yeah.
yeah. You see how he sees through the suit. That's the way I imagine it would be if the chip overloaded inside that human's brain. That's a possibility of hypothetical thinking, of course. But like you said, if AI could take over the world and all
James,
these endless things with
Let me.
entrepreneurs,
James, will you
yes,
will you
sir.
take the chip?
That's my question. How many
Will
people
I
do you
take the
think?
chip? Sir, so because I'm a person of technology, and I really love the way that technology is expanding and growing.
Uh-huh.
Phew. I don't know if it's because of a movie that inspired me to probably make the decision of taking it. I believe I would take it. I would take it.
You know, I spoke to like 3 young people like your age. They are like 27, 23, and
Yeah.
they all tell me they'll take the chip.
The reason being because it would eventually help us. It would expand our human capabilities.
To do what? In doing what? In what? In
Well,
doing what?
let's say the new one link which Elon Musk created and it worked and it could be used to weaponize. The military will take action towards that and will use that and makes it advance in many ways so it could be probably used as a weapon. And let's say I did join the Marine Corps and there is a war. My bad. Sorry for the miss.
Right.
Yeah. There is a war.
Uh,
And I'm inside the Marine Corps at that time. I believe if it became a normal thing to use the Neuralink, I believe I would be ordered to use it and go in battle using it, and which it could help me to kill fight for the country basically.
Wouldn't that be a good thing? Help you to kill people. Wouldn't that be a good thing? Now,
Well, that's the main idea of war, and that is why war is morally wrong.
That's not the main idea of war. You know.
Well, also,
People like
the
to-
Neuralink
like
could
to
be
win-
used to
people
other
like-
things.
People like to win war with the least killing. They just want to overcome and be the victors. The killing is just what happens.
Dictators and leaders are ignorant to actually accept understanding and actually talking as a human being. Yeah, that's the reason of the killing in the wars.
Somebody said we
yeah.
already
Somebody-
chipped up. Oh,
we
I think
already
it's-
chipped up.
I think that's
What do you think? I mean, that the vaccine the man talk about? What do you think that is? Did you take the
Well-
vaccine, James?
Yes, I had to take the vaccine to be able to go to school. So yes, I had to take it.
Oh, the schools were demanding that you take
Yes.
it.
The
I
school
see,
did.
interesting.
Did you
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that it infringed on any of your rights, being required to take it to go back to school? Did you have any problem with that?
I didn't want to take it. Of course, I did not want to take that for the reason being I don't trust it, and I do not trust the government creation of something which hasn't been tested fully yet, and it's being implemented to all around the world. I do not support it. So yeah, I was just forced to take it, and I did feel like it deflated my dignity as a person to actually had to do it because I had to learn. So yeah, I was forced to do it.
But then the option was to get coronavirus and get very sick.
Yeah.
Not only that, you're willing to put the chip in, James.
Yeah, the chip is because let's say the reason why I would put the chip in, it expands my capability as a human being, because let's say I give you the scenario which I was in war and I used it to
Right.
for the battle purposes, and not only just on killing people, it could be used to take down drones, because drones is being using inside the Ukraine war with Russia.
Hold up. The chip is gonna be able to make you take down a drone or war
It makes him
device.
smarter. It makes him smarter
Make you smarter. No.
because you get collective.
Yeah.
Collective information you share.
Yeah.
Man, you're blowing your mind, boy. Man,
But
Jim,
you have to remember,
James, you're
Um,
already smart. How smart do you want to be?
I want to be
He
smart,
wants to
but
be
not that smart that
collectively
become
smart.
crazy. I want to be very knowledgeable and wisdom
And you don't think there's a risk that a chip like that might do that to you? A chip like that, you don't know. You're talking about the vaccine. You don't know about the vaccine. You don't know the chip. The chip that's not even tested yet. That's not even, or is
yeah,
it?
it's not. It is being tested in animals, but not in human. Not in. It hasn't been tested on humans.
I think it's in human already.
Well, that's what
Yeah,
they're
I
saying.
believe. Because they're you have to remember, Elon Musk is rich, and he has the power to do that.
And
He has the power.
And you're inquisitive. We never know. I'm wondering if did somebody ask you to put something by your ear lately?
No.
No. I'm sure
No.
you. But really, James, I'm interested
Yeah.
topic here because how smart do we want to be? Really, how far advanced? You're a rational being. As far as we know, the highest level of intelligence on the planet. You want to get even higher than that? Why? Do we want to become like God? Is that it?
As you can see in the past, human beings, males, the masculine energy, the masculine thought, it's ours to become higher, which you already. Let's say you are strong today, you want to be stronger the next day. That is the human. That I believe that's the human way. I believe that's a
Exactly.
man's way to always improve in many ways, even it's the smallest ways as let's say
Viagra.
a skill. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, not look so concerned, Joe. We're not nothing.
James
No,
is 16.
yeah, James is 16.
But
James,
James,
James
Yeah, but
is
you
a
have to
pure
remember.
16.
yeah, but let me ask you
The internet
something.
is far,
Right.
far,
I
far
know
much
you're
worse.
putting
Yeah.
I know you're putting a little humor in it.
Yeah.
But if man created AI, why is it that you would want to turn AI and put it into you when man has the capacity to go way beyond still?
The same reason we use canines.
For what reason?
They
For
assist
what reason we use
us
K9?
in the police force, for example. The canines assist you in many ways you cannot do as a human being, as a regular human being. That is the same way as AI. You can manipulate, well, not
But let me
manipulate
show
it,
you.
but you
Let me
can
show you
use
about
it.
K9. K9 would not be
Ah,
able to do what they do unless humans train them.
yeah, and that is
But
the same
but
way as
they
the
have
AI
Yeah, but
because
they
you
do.
program the
I agree.
AI.
dog.
I
Are
agree
you
with
thinking the
James.
day
They
will
do
come when
have
the dog will kill us?
extraordinary. No, I do agree with James that K9 does have extraordinary capacity that human themselves does not have. We
Well, put the
train
chip
them.
in them.
No, but
Well,
what
as I
What?
K9
said,
has, what K9 has, he wouldn't be able to do what he do without man trainer.
Like
The
the
same way as
AI.
how AI,
He has
just
the
as the
capacity.
AI.
Yeah,
Yeah, just
Yeah,
as the AI.
it was man
but
that trained the dog.
so, and James, you are already the man. This is what the point I think that he's getting at. You're already a man, the highest form of intelligence.
That's right.
You're
Yeah.
saying you want to improve that by putting a chip in you, a
To
foreign
us,
something
well,
that
to
Elon
assist me.
Elon Musk might be the one directing that. Then so you go, oh, Elon Musk, be careful. I can see it.
Those
I can see it.
conspiracies. Those conspiracies.
Conspiracy, my foot.
But you know what? You know what Elon Musk? You know what Elon Musk wants to do,
Not
right?
only I don't believe I believe Elon Musk came up with the idea with Neuralink. I believe the military is already creating something as advanced as that, as I believe.
No, but
Because the
when you
military and the
when
government has the potential to do anything they
yeah,
want.
but
Except yeah.
when you get the chip in you, then
Yeah.
Elon Musk will be able to control you.
It won't be Elon Musk then. It won't be Elon Musk then
That's what he
because
wants to do. He
yeah,
wants
they
to
do
yeah, I
get
know
say
you
they.
control
Elon
and
Musk.
yeah.
Why
But
won't it
let's
be Elon Musk then? Why will it not
reason
be him?
being,
Uh-huh.
reason being, you said before, and entrepreneurs will do anything for the for greater money.
Big profit, right?
You really think Elon Musk would keep a hold of something that big, that potential to be so much money? So I believe he would sell it to the government, not
Why?
even the military.
Why he would
Because
keep it? He would want to keep it. Right? He's gonna make more
I
money
believe,
keeping it.
I believe he would sell it, but at the extent of having a prototype, meaning he has something far greater than what he already sold. Just as a Tesla, every single time he creates something new, he always has something much greater in mind behind that that object which he have sold or
But I
I
think
don't know.
somebody has something up here on the screen, and I
Yeah,
think
they
it's
just
Humans invented, yeah. Men are smarter than yeah. That is
That's
true.
right.
Just
Yeah.
as me and Joe were saying the other day. We were speaking on AI already, on the same ideas which you said that AI might take over the world. I don't believe they have the potential, but they cannot do it because
you
of the
cannot.
programming which humans use to prevent that.
And you think you're smarter than AI because you're a man, so you're smarter than AI, right?
Well,
Why?
if we're
Why would
smart,
you?
if men are smart, how did they create the AI? They have to have the capability to be smart enough to create something that far fetched and
Right,
advanced. So
right.
humans
And
are
you,
smart.
all right, and you so smart, yet you want to put what you created inside of you to make you smarter.
But
Yes.
we rely. I'll say something. Other than putting it in us, we have come to rely on this technology that provides us all this information in every way, whether it is GPS. Now you don't have to look at your phone. It will tell you whether you're heading north or south. We rely on it on our cell phone. We rely on it on our watch. All this intelligence we carry around with us, and the next step is to just embed it in us, and that's what they're thinking of. And as I said, I spoke to three young people, a little bit older than James, and they're
Okay.
engineers. They're engineers that
And
works
they
in my
want the
office.
chip.
And I was surprised. I was surprised, and it's people of different ethnicity. I made sure that each one was of a different ethnicity, and
Okay.
they all told me that yes, they would take the chip.
I wonder if it's a consensus among young people. James, your friends, have you guys spoken about it? And do
Yes,
you
sir.
think,
Yes, sir. Many
uh,
times. Many
and
times.
do you think there are enough people who think like you do that says yes, we're willing to take this chip to improve our
Well,
capabilities?
some of my friends are not to my level, which you would say on critical thinking and making decisions and wisdom itself, other than knowledge. Because if you have knowledge, if you could any man could have knowledge, but you have to have the wisdom to use that knowledge. So that's something I would say I have above my friends. But my friends said yes to this because it's not only it sounds cool, but it sounds dangerous at the same time. And that's the things about our generation. The children nowadays want something to look cool but dangerous at the same time. They want something unique. That's the objective of how many youngsters they think in our generation as we speak.
Do you see any issue of ethics with taking the chips?
Ethics?
Yeah, you see
Yes,
you
yes.
see
Yes.
because
Because before
what happens to the person that may not be compatible to take the chip, or the person that chooses not to take the chip? How do you see the ethics of that?
well, I guess you will be using a different format if yeah, you
Like
will have to
like
be used
how,
in a
James, you
yes,
felt
sir.
violated when you were made to take the vaccine because you
Yeah.
really wasn't sure if you wanted to. You thought you didn't want to do it, but they made you do it. It was compulsory, and you felt somewhat violated. How do you think then about people who should they be forced to take the chip as the vaccine was forced upon people?
You see, I believe the military will use that technology first before the public does. I believe that will happen. So I believe a Marine or a military, a Navy, let's say a Navy SEALs, any person in a military status, I believe they will have the be recorded, studied to use that technology. So I believe there will be tests to see if you're compatible for the neural link or the chip inside our brain.
James, are you familiar with Chat GPT? Have you used that
Yes, sir.
platform? You have?
Yes. That I haven't used it in a way to use my on my studies, but my friends use it to create their essays
Oh,
and yeah. To
So you're not telling on yourself.
no, sir. I am as innocent as could be.
Okay.
Do you think that kind of laziness that you won't need to think, the chip will think for you? Because the way somebody suggested on the screen that you might, that just one laziness on the part of the younger generation to have everything the easy way. Do you
One
find your
thing,
generation lazy?
me personally, I do not believe in laziness in my mental stage and my mental state of thinking. I do not. I believe the harder way is the best way. For example, let's say I do a sport. this is me personally. I lose 2 points by 2 points first to make it more competitive for me to actually push myself beyond which which I am capable of doing in a basketball game. I will push myself to actually go all out basically, and by me doing that, that's not only satisfying of winning, but it's also I am winning in a win-win situation because I'm capable. I know I'm capable of doing something, and I know I'm capable of losing something. So that makes me more capable of expanding my possibilities, I believe, and that is myself only. That is something I can practice myself. But going back to the lazy generation, I do believe this generation is lazy when it comes to video games. You say that Neuralink will make the human mind less stressed and thinking and more on the lazy side. Let's see VR chat. Have you seen a VR goggles before? How it is used and many things.
I have.
I believe
Yes.
if VR is basically just VR, virtual reality, basically. Yeah, but some people use it to socialize. You know what I mean by socialize? Basically, using that VR chat to actually go in public, but they're inside their homes. And I believe let's say a company and many things expand in VR towards VR, I believe the world is doomed. I believe the world is doomed if the world expands towards virtual reality.
In other
I
words,
do
you
not
want-
believe.
That's what AI is promoting.
No, the reason why I would use the AI check, not only would it assist me, but I believe there will be boundaries where the AI can assist you in. So I believe the AI would not assist you in critical thinking or formulating answers on your own decisions like morals and all those virtues you serve. I don't believe the AI could assist you on that. For example, that would be a boundary. The boundaries which the AI is used to assist you, like for example, like I told you before, it can locate drones, it could locate, let's say, landmines, it could locate your teammates though, whatever. Your comrades. Basically, let's say you're in the woods and it's night. The chip is inside your brain and it has the capability to turn on night vision in your eyes. So basically, you can see in the dark. That's a hypothetical illusion that that's how far the Neuralink could be used. For example, in the military, in a war format. Yeah, and it could be used to locate your teammates.
I see Joe
Yeah.
laugh because listen to me now. You familiar the 1-10-10-10 binary
Yeah.
code, but you know you have wake sleep. You don't need to sleep at night. Go to sleep. But the fact is that how smart do you want to get, James? How smart do you really want to get? Think about that. Yeah? Let me answer to that. How smart do you want to get? Because at this point you're above average. Let's put it that way. You're moving, and you're a lot smarter than a lot of young people your age for
Yeah.
sure. And you have accepted that, which then not always a good thing because it can lead to some pompousness
pride and pride is a
arrogance.
very
Right.
arrogance and pride is a very bad thing to have as a person. Like I said, I'm a very I have virtues, so I know my boundaries and I know where to humble myself. Basically, I know where to listen and understand.
And listen to this one, because it is said that humility is the sweet root from which all other virtues shoot. So all the virtues that you seek, usually humility starts there. But
I like that comment where I said James is the really. I love that time.
I mean, I must say to you, James,
Yes.
that you are quite prolific in your scientific fiction. But I like the idea that you are going down that road to be able to think the way you are thinking.
Yes,
But
sir.
quite frankly, you are still at the stage of a lot of scientific fiction. So you can maybe turn it into reality one day.
Yeah, that is true.
There when it comes to AI.
Yeah, but the idea is because we speak about AI.
Right?
Yeah.
AI was
Like I told,
right? That's where it started.
the chip will turn the fiction into reality. Don't worry about it. The chip will fix that.
The reason why I speak in such a fiction way is because we don't know the full capabilities of AI. We're only imagining how it could be and how it could be used. That's why I only use these imaginary hypothetical scenarios. That's why I implement those as examples, basically. So
Are you
yeah,
scared? Are you
Right.
scared?
That's why you're
you
using
know
the word
you-
hypothetical. You're using
Yeah.
hypothetical. So
Right.
that's where it begins.
yeah,
That's where it begins. With your
Yeah,
science, you're gifted in the science. And I
yes,
sense that you are using hypothetical. But that's where it begins. So I can
Yeah.
see a future for you in science.
yeah.
sure.
They do say that China has advanced and have developed soldiers that are programmed with the chips already. So I
Uh,
don't know, I don't know if that's true,
and
but I would say there'd be lot more restraint. I'd say there's a lot more restraint on their society, lot less restraint on their society to do it than probably in the United
The
States.
US,
Although I
yeah.
am sure if it's happening there, it's happening here.
Let's say it's happening in China. Let's say it's actually real. What
Yeah.
good? I'm going to ask you this question, personal question. What what is something you have which said made by China, which lasted for over 5 years? Have you ever had an item that lasted for over 5 years, which was made in China?
a girl.
China. I'll tell you something. Lots of items from China last very, very long. China
And
is a country that issues many levels of products. For
That's
example, in the
that's right.
electrical field, they have like 3 different levels of product that issues. There are products that exceeds even the United States standard, and there are products that meets the United States standards, and there are products that are sold to other countries that could not be sold in America that's made in China. So when we say that, we have to be very careful to realize that the products from China are can be very good and the best quality and superior quality
let me tell you something that
products.
lasts that I've seen come from China that lasts. I've seen
Okay.
some very old Chinese people.
Wow.
But James, I think the point that Gregory is making, you should take it into account. Don't go with
Yes.
the belief that China is making a lot of fake goods. No, China makes goods from the third world countries right up to the most advanced, as he rightly said. So they are quite
Yeah.
capable of producing as good as, in fact, they have mimicked some of the US
Yeah.
products that they made and making
Yeah.
them better than them.
The
Yeah,
US
You,
that's
you
buy
what
wanna
I'm
you
back.
saying.
wanna you wanna know something funny? You
Most of
wanna
your
know something
iPhone,
funny?
most of your iPhone is made in China.
Yeah, go,
China and India.
go ahead. Go ahead. Tell us that something funny, James. Tell us that
Okay,
something
okay.
funny.
You know, America have Elon Musk.
Right.
China has another Elon Musk look-alike, and he has almost the same model of Tesla created.
And
He
China have
even
the
comes
state
down.
China have the state government backing everything if they so choose.
Yeah, yes, but also like, and the joke is that Elon Musk is inside of America, and they have a copycat basically in China.
Of course.
What you
It
saying?
literally looks just as Elon Musk.
Have you seen a picture of it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why I'm saying
It
it.
looks like him and it does everything that Elon Musk does.
Yes,
So, so
he
they've
formulates
cloned the damn man. They've cloned the man.
Yes, yes.
I see. I see. I
Because you
see.
said China basically copies US in many different ways, and I told you that, which is really happening.
Boy, James, we're gonna have to keep a track on you, boy, and we have to talk to you for every several years to see where you're going because you you have some interesting concepts there, boy. It's interesting, and I don't know if I'm optimistic as you are when it comes to the whole concept of just letting AI run wild and run loose and do everything they want to, because it is making us into robots already. In other words, we don't do anything for ourselves anymore. Somebody put up a while ago, how many numbers can you remember? AI will make you remember all of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
We already have Google. We already have the phone book where you store everything. In fact, most
But now you don't have to go there. It's right in your head. You say what's the longest river, and it pops in your head, and you get the distance of it, and you know that it's
you're talking about the chip.
yeah.
I don't need to know that. I'd rather look it up. I'd
You'll
rather.
be
Yeah.
at you'll be at
Let
a
me tell.
disadvantage. You'll be at a disadvantage in the
Yeah, yeah,
future.
but it won't be no competition. I wouldn't want to run no contest with nobody. I just want to live a nice,
No,
easy life.
but as human moves on to quantum physics and quantum
Physics.
thinking, the need for speed and recall of stuff is going to be much more important, and that's why I think
Yeah,
there may
yeah,
be a
yeah.
need and an advantage to have this, particularly as we explore the outer limits of space and so forth.
And
So
you know what? You know what, Gregory? There's a lot of other advantages, in particular to being young, like James is, with a future ahead of him, with a lot of possibilities and potential. But I don't know if a person like me didn't just win the game, because by coming up in the time I did and not have to worry about all of that now. I mean,
you
because
don't have
as
to
you,
worry
Well,
about the chip. You don't have to work.
I don't have to worry about, they're not gonna put no chip in me.
they
No.
might put it. They might put it. No,
Hey,
no,
hey,
man, no.
hey, the chip is going to control our whole body. It's going to control our sugar, our diabetes. It's not just going to
That's all
make our
right. That's all
Let me
intelligence.
right.
let me tell you
It,
something. I had
That's
I
fine.
had a I had a opinion basically on what you're saying. Basically, you said it's going to control our whole body and whole bodies. We already have technology that controls our heartbeats, like the iPhone watch. So basically, by making that chip is basically easier to control our whole body. So you are right, and I
Yeah.
do believe our generation, as I speak now, is getting lazier because of people going home. This is personal experience. I seen my friends do this. They go home, they research, do the homework, copy and paste, basically copy and paste, and that's it. And they do the homework. They have no form of thinking,
yeah,
actually learning
but
and
that's
experiencing how it feels to do a homework by yourself. But
Yeah.
me personally, I go through the idea of the old time days. I really admire the old time days as such, as humans suffered to work. They were hardworking beings, and I really embrace those types of personalities and aspects to myself
but
personally. So I believe in those.
I'll say some of those are ethics based on our current values of judgment.
Yeah.
But in time when you don't when that barrier of ethics is moved, that everybody is doing it, and it's no problem to go and get your stuff from generating um, programs such as Chat GPT and others that are being developed now, it will be less of an issue. It'll just be, do you have the answer? Can you solve the problem of making this particular work operation flow? Can you program to this level to accomplish this specific task? And I think that the ethics of it will be lost somewhere on human, and we'll just be doing whatever it is. And like you said, Mr. Chairman, it's because of the economics of it and because of the need to get the task
The
done.
best out of it. Yeah. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
somebody put up that the chip is gonna be in liquid form. And I give you a story, interesting story, because I take a painkiller injection every now and again. I went to the doctor to try to get the injection, and the nurse closed the thing and got in the next room, and I kind of like, Miss, come like I see where they put in there, please, because I mean, I'm paranoid. I'm telling you, I'm not interested in this. You know where? Give me the watch. I will put on the watch. I know a good doctor. I go see the doctor when I have an issue. I don't need for the everything. I don't need no hospital in my head, because that
So
is basically,
you're a fear of change. You're a fear of change.
no.
Are
That's
you a
not
fear?
change. That change is taking off the shirt and putting on another. Change is changing a habit from one to another.
One is
That's not change.
revolutionizing.
That's
It's
transformation.
revolution.
That's transformation. And they are the call you a transformer. Yeah,
They already have transformers as
yeah,
we speak.
exactly. So, but yeah, okay, you know what? I'm sure there'll be benefits to be derived
Yeah.
from it. Especially for the people who are going to be controlling those of you who have the chips in you.
No,
Because it'll
you're
be
right.
wonderful.
Yeah, yeah.
You'll be at work 8 on the dot, and you'll work until 5 on the dot. You might not even need no lunch because the chip will feed you. The chip will have an eating will release at 12 o'clock.
No, you to go really advance in the
Mike,
future. I believe this
how-
time, this and that,
No.
that stage of technology would have never happened in my lifetime. I believe
You-
that
you
probably
don't
in a
say that,
the next
son.
generation.
Don't
That's
say
not
that, my
necessary.
son.
That's not necessary. It could happen because what he's saying, they could tell you to eat so much calories, and then they control how that calories is released
Well,
in
yes.
the body, so that
That's a very
you,
good thought. That's a very
so you
very
don't
strong thought.
exactly.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
one thing as a younger person in this generation, while technology is expanding and growing, I really wanted to be born in the 3050s, for example, so I could experience the vast myriages of technology and AI and all of these futuristic things. I would have
Interesting.
loved to be born in those
In,
times.
in, in
Those
the
In the
future.
future,
30 something
In
in the future.
3050s. Yeah, 3050. That's a good good time to be born.
if we're still around,
That's,
and don't blow
that's if we're
ourselves up,
still around
blow
after
ourselves
World War
up in the
III.
20th.
You know what's funny about that, James? You know when
Yeah.
I'd like to have been born?
When?
When I was born, the 1950s, because I
But I
I've seen
admire
a lot of
I admire what you
change.
say. I admire people who were born in the 1950s. I love the old time music. For example, I love 1960s and 1970s movies and the songs and everything. I love the
Right.
old time days. Like I told you, I really admire everything which humans has developed over the thousands of years.
He said he likes you when you had just a typewriter, Mr. G Mike.
Yeah, because
You
it
know,
gives you a purpose. It gives a stronger purpose.
I like it when we went out and partied and danced to some music. You don't have to do that. The chip will do that for you. The chip will.
That's
The chip
virtual
would
reality. That's
Yeah.
virtual reality.
Listen, when I say put it down and you the party, man, you got everybody in the room with you. And it's like, where is it going? Where is it going? Has the world gone mad?
It will play for 30 seconds and you'll think it's like a 4-hour trip.
A 4
That's
hours.
crazy.
Tired. Then
That's crazy.
you'll be able to tell the chip, I want to sweat. Give me a sweat because I need to feel like I just
What the
work out. Pour in
James.
sweat.
Tell the
Yes.
AFL make you
Suppose
exercise.
you're- Suppose you
yes,
realize that after take that chip, you will never die. What you gonna do? But you
Who,
can't
me or
die.
James? Me or James?
Me,
Yeah,
me,
James.
James.
You take the chip, you put it in you.
and I'm immortal, and
You-
I become an
you
immortal
can't die.
being.
You will never die again. You don't want to live forever.
That's a big touch right there.
Well,
But honestly,
Uh-huh.
yes. Yes.
Let me.
I would
You
love
know-
to see the earth blow up. I would love to see the sun emerge from like
James,
5 billion years from now.
James,
I
let me-
am fascinating with the space. I
Yeah,
love
yeah,
astrology.
Let me tell you something, James, and this
Astronomy.
this interesting right here, and I want true
Yeah.
thing. When I was young, growing up, a little boy, and that many years ago, there was
Yes,
a
sir.
lady that lived in an alley in front of me, and a funny thing, they said they put mercury in her that make you can't dead, and that lady laid there for years trying to die and couldn't die. And I am looking at this now, and you to talk about one chip, and I'm saying this is something that was happening back then in the 60s, the 50s. They were putting chips in people to keep them alive or to give them the same kind of enhanced capabilities that you're talking about. I accept that you're talking about it intelligently. This was somebody that was able to prolong her time on earth, but it was no fun. I don't think she was enjoying that.
Morally, in my sense of belief, I already know how it would be about how I would feel seeing my loved ones die before me, and I will be able to live so many years. And let's say I have many families, and I will see my family grow up, die, grow up again, die, and it has its very bad situations, and it also has a good situation for myself personally. I would love to see the world end before my eyes. Because
What?
if I'm immortal, I would.
All right, and you want immortal and the world end. So you
The
still
world
the
and I
immortal.
dead. I
That's
was
how
dead
you
after
want
that
to.
because the
You
world
want
will
it.
go up.
How what you want to do? You
I
want to
don't-
create other people
That's
to
it.
play with you.
No, no.
You have to think
Maybe
this
we
thing
might
through.
have holograms. Let's say robots, the robots, they live to see me because the robots are immortal. Let's say me and the robots are immortal. So basically, all I would have left as a human being is the memory of what humanity has been,
And that would
and
be enough for you.
and the socialization with robots.
And
So
that
it would be lonely.
That would be enough for you. You think?
It will
Fine.
be. I believe. I read this book about a man who stayed up in a cabin in the woods for 5 years all alone. No outside, no society, none of these things. Nobody he
No
talked to.
TV, no nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, but he had a good mindset of of exercising his will and his strength to live. So he lived those years all alone, and when he came out of that isolation and that solitude, it was hard to socialize with people. But in the end, he still had a mind of a human being. He didn't go crazy because you see in those some people they did experiments on if they're alone too long they become crazy and they become insane. But that person trained his mind and the way and his way of thinking that this is benefiting more than he thinks. It is a gift. It's not a curse. It's a gift to be alone basically. So for me, I would use that same ideology for myself to see.
You got this thing all planned out, haven't you?
Yeah. Well, you know they did have an
Man, it's just
experiment.
many scenarios in my head because I have a big imagination as a child, and I love that about myself. The endless possibilities of my imagination.
They did have experiment some years ago with some people that lived in what they call the dome, and I think they lived there for like 2 years. They were supposed to live for like 5, but so many things start going wrong with it. I think it was like 6 people, and
They cut
so many
short the
things,
experiment.
they cut short it after
Well,
like 2.5 years.
Was
or
this
something
male
like
and
that.
female?
Male and female, yes.
I imagine a few birds were probably
No, they had to take contraceptive and all that type of stuff, the women, to make sure that
Interesting.
they couldn't get pregnant and so forth. And it was an interesting experiment. I read it some time ago and I had the book, but I don't think I have it anymore.
I read, yeah.
But
I-
you could look at it, the dome.
I read about this guy that they told him he could. They're putting something in dogs to make them live like 200 years. And I asked the guy if he want one of the dog. He said, "What's the use of getting something like that get attached to and then it dies?" So I imagine.
Yeah, live longer.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I kind of like James with a deal with that. Yeah. Man, drop off a channel. No, but honestly, it's refreshing ideas. Frightening. I don't know. I don't know, James. I hope they're not a whole lot of young people to that level yet. Or we're in trouble.
No. I could assure you. I could probably say I'm the one and only person who thinks this way. In that sense, in those sense, I could say.
How about in a sense? How do you feel about older people? Should they be
Older
put
people
out, should they be
with
put out the
knowledge?
pasture? Should they be getting rid of? Should they make
No.
room for younger people?
I believe old people are essential because they are the past generation. How would you learn if you don't have someone to look up to or to learn from?
The chip would teach you. You don't need to learn. You don't need to learn.
Let's say I ruled hypothetical. This is a hypothetical scenario. I am the president of the United States,
Yeah, the
and I
president
am
of
a person who
hypothesis.
thinks. Yeah,
Go ahead.
the person who thinks. I am a person who thinks as I am now, and let's say I'm in the 50s now. I
Right.
will teach the old ways, the ideas of being a human being and being a man and being a female. I would teach those things. And the chips now, the chips as you would say, would assist you to visualize those ideas which I'm speaking. Because you know,
And return to them. And
yeah,
return
and
to those
return
ideas.
to those
So why
ways.
do you want to leave them? You have them now. Why you want to leave them and go there and come back to here? You're already here.
Well, I don't mean like come back to the whole society is now and how the building of the structures are and how
What
the
would you
economy
want to
is.
change?
I mean the will. I'm speaking of,
All right.
of the will of a human man and a human female. Those are the things I want to transfer to the future, to the farther future. Because without a human without a will is nothing.
But you don't need a will. The chip will do it. The chip will.
Okay, no. Those are very big situations.
You get hypothetical, don't you?
But I mean, it's realistic to a sense. It's open-minded, but I love the idea that you're very open-minded about the chip and being the disadvantage of humanity.
It's fucking crazy. Go ahead, Greg. You're telling him something.
No, I was going to ask Mr. Joe if he wanted the chip.
Joe, would you take the chip? It would make you take you
younger.
40 years.
I would not change my humanity for anything else.
So I don't know who only one on this show agreeing to take the chip. So that's
the chip will make you. The chip will make you young and viral.
I want to make a statement.
Yes.
You see, drug addicts when they take drugs and they become an addict and they come off of the drug. What happens to their minds? What happens to their sanity?
Nothing. Look at Joe. No, go ahead. I'm kidding. Go ahead. Let's be serious.
Yes.
But look at me then. Look at me. No, nothing. What, you can go back to being a normal person if your brain is not.
Let's say a person who struggles from it in a very difficult way. In those movies, let's say for a movie, for example, those drug addicts or the junkies, when they go through the ways of sobering up, how they become, they have them symptoms of withdrawal. So you see those the withdrawal symptoms of being a human,
right?
And he regaining his humanity and his mind to think on his own and know that drugs is not the thing he should use. Yet say for AI now, let's say you say AI take control of your body now. If you have that same will to fight against that addiction, let's say that withdrawal symptoms of the AI fighting to control your mind and your body, if you could fight that against that, I believe you could win that. And I believe the people who created AI could have like firewalls to prevent those overloading your body and controlling your body in the end.
Or maybe firewalls to prevent you from fighting against it. That you're saying
I love this. I love these.
The possibility is endless.
Yes, you're right, but
I mean, and there are two ways it can go, James. It can go in a good way and it can go very wrong. And I think we have to look at that and think about it before we decide to make that leap. I mean, this is not like a religious thing, where you believe or not believe. And this is something where you take that leap and there's no coming back. There's no return. You're out there. If it's not what you think, what you thought it would be, that means, hey, it is what it is, and that's a tough thing, tough place to be.
What would you like to say to young people?
To young people, well,
and first, tell me what you consider young.
Using technology as entertainment 24/7. That is the people I call young in this generation. Well, for the people about around the same age as me, let's say from 10 to 16 to 18, well, I believe that you're a human being. You are worth. You have a purpose in life. I believe everyone has a purpose in life, and I believe if you strive to succeed and you fight for it, you will eventually reach the top. And I believe I know you may have struggles in life and have doubts and many different things which will happen to you in life. But you have to remember, everyone goes through that. If you suffer you feel like you're suffering more than anyone else. You have to remember someone suffered more than you. So you have to be that greater person to use that struggle to your advantage to become successful in life and to have a worth living for. Yeah.
Let me be realistic with you. There are also people doing much better than you when you're in, particularly when you're in a bad position there. So you can use that as a
Yeah.
consolation, or you can say, boy, I
I
mean,
consider that as a blessing. Because the things I always fight for in life, I know someone will always be smarter than me, stronger than me, and have a more pointed view on what I see or what I speak about. And that is the reason why I always strive for not perfection, for self-improvement in those areas which I know I am not the smartest, and I know that I could never reach that full potential of being smart. But I know there's always opportunities to get higher knowledge and higher wisdom. So yeah, I view that as a gift for me
uh,
personally.
but you can always get there with the chip. James,
This
listen to me. We all the time. It's 9 o'clock. It's been interesting.
Yeah.
Really, I've enjoyed
Yes,
your
sir.
presence here. Thanks, Joe, for encouraging us. Folks, I want to remind you that the Charlie Burton Foundation is having a back to school fun day on August the 20th, which is 2 Sundays from today. We're gonna you usually give out books and school bags. This year we're going to give hygiene products to the children. Encourage that in school because that is very important. Um, James, if you got a chance, stop by. We're on Give That Street. We look forward to seeing you there. Guys, it's been fun.
Yes.
Any final words from the panel?
I enjoyed James, and it went much better than I actually
I was
thought.
really
I didn't know what to expect,
what
but
to expect.
I was fully engaged.
And I was ready to truncate, and the second half turned out even better. Thank you, James. Thank you.
Yes, sir. This is a
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah. I would love to say that I am very grateful for this opportunity. I was very looking forward to this night, and I appreciate this for you inviting me. And I appreciate the people who are watching. They're telling me that I am the real ear.
You are. Elon Musk got you, boy. Stuart, I want to thank you for joining us every week.
Yeah.
Mr. Stuart Vernon always with us, and we have a couple of other Miss Janet, a couple of people who religiously, and we're gonna grow, people. We're gonna get there. See why? We are out of here. When I get you a final word, but Joe, everything all right, right?
Yeah.
Respect, guys. Thanks a lot for
Yeah,
being with us
yeah.
again this week. We'll see you soon, James. We gotta come back on after I get a chip.
Most likely.
See why? Take it away, Bob.
Violence prevention, that with a mention. Why you have to spit with so much bad intention? So I'm gonna say it, so shall it be. What's the seed far close to the tree? You know, say retire that the negativity, plus you stay the complete. Even though you have dollars, they fall like rain. Still want drive in another man lane. No shit. You don't need no gimme, for to make the lyrics public. You don't need no fire upon no stick, make it ball like a weight. Gonna jump up in the air, somebody beware. We fling bout the lyrics like fear. We don't need no gimme, for to make the lyrics public. We don't need no fire upon no stick, make it ball like a weight. Gonna jump up in the air, somebody beware. We fling bout the lyrics like fear. squeeze, make no riot. So they make noise easy. See why alongside Wavy and my boy, YG. Me no need no gimme for to make the lyrics popular. Me no need no fire pan, no stick, make it ball like a wind. Gonna jump up in the air, some boy beat where we fling bout lyrics like fear. Me no need no gimme for to make the lyrics popular. Me no need no fire pan, no stick, make it ball like a wind. Gonna jump up in the air, some boy beat where we fling bout lyrics like fear. Music doesn't know it's gun and a toy. Some boy me telling us you no must realize whole globe done change. What's me like the words out of my mouth is strange. Some your lyrics that I forget rearrange. You don't be money get hotter than pepper when you sing. Why you have to this song so bitter? You get opportunity with that responsibility to achieve reality. Me no need no gimme for to make the lyrics popular. Me no need no fire pan, no stick, make it ball like a wind. Gonna jump up in the air, some boy beat where we fling bout lyrics like fear. Me no need no gimme for to make the lyrics popular. Me no need no fire pan, no stick, make it ball like a wind. Gonna jump up in the air, some boy beat where we fling bout lyrics like fear. Violence prevention, that with the mention. Why you have to spit with so much bad intention? So I'm gonna say it, social GB. What's the seed far close to the G? You know, say retire that is negativity. Plus, you stay the complete. Even though you have dollars, they fall like rain. Still want drive in another man lane. No shit. Me no need no gimme for to make the lyrics popular. Me no need no fire pan, no stick, make it ball like a wind. Gonna jump up in the air, some boy beat